shouting Viva. These are the people who captured these artilleries. They talk shouting Viva, and the IO here tells us that these are not our people, they are separate people, we don't know them. So we have come here to tell you that it is the IO that violated the very agreement that we had here on the 3rd. They were denying responsibility, but now they have been betrayed by the very people. And they have now confirmed to us that they are members of the IO. This is, of course, a document that cannot be denied. So it is the IO that captured that place. Now, if it is the IO that captured that place, then what is the way forward? The way forward is that one thing to know is that here we are here as party signatories to the agreement. The SPLM-IO is a member of is one of the signatories to the agreement. And if it is a signatory to the agreement, I call upon the members who are signatories to the agreement, and specifically to the IO, to control their forces. Control their forces and give them the necessary directives to withdraw from that place. Withdraw from that place, withdraw from Nasir, and allow the government in which they are members to continue with the relief of those forces as the court said before. We are also, as the government in which they are members, asking the IO to abide by the provisions of the agreement. If the IO believes that they are part and parcel of the current government, then there is no reason of fighting the forces of the very government in which you are a member. What took place actually was organized and coordinated from here. Because over there, what do people know about forces that are moving to Malakal, from Malakal to how do people know that these forces are moving from Malakal anywhere else? How did they know that these people, the composition of these forces comprises of Abu Shok and Abulek, what we call it? How did they come to know all these? These are informations that go from here. And this is not for the interest of peace. It is not for the interest of the people of South Sudan. For that matter, I'm calling upon the IO to respect and abide by the provisions of the agreement. It is only when we work together that we'll be in a position to achieve this objective. This objective of moving together from here up to elections is not everybody's interest. It seems that there are parties, there are individuals or groups of people who are not interested in the implementation of the agreement in letter and spirit. Because if we implement it in letter and spirit, we will go for elections. And if we go for elections, there are certain groups there that do not want us to go for elections. And as such, they must all the time start with obstruction. They must all the time obstruct any processes so that we extend again. You know very well we have been extending. This is the third extension now. Or is it number one? This is the third. We are not ready for a fourth extension. And as such, these people who are obstructing all this are groups who do not want us to go for elections. We are determined to go for elections. So my message to the public through you is this. that the government is still in full control. The government is in full control of the situation, and we are in the process of addressing the situation in Nassau. Number two, my advice to the public is that they should not listen and be agitated by this negativeness and disorder. So the social media houses are advised to abide by the law and respect the use of the social media responsibly. Otherwise, at the end of the day, you will find yourself in conflict with the law. But then matter go turn it to Bulena, walai se janunile, wadone fi makamale. Because this time we will take people to the court. There will be no mileage again, because we have been talking for long and we have been warning people against the abuse of the media, of the social media. So this time, if you happen to be in conflict with the law, be ready to face it. This is my warning to everybody who is a user of the social media. In addition to that, the article calls upon the partner member of that is the partner member of the article, who is the SPLM-AIO, to control and restrain its forces and respect and abide by the resolutions of the 3rd of March 2025. Resolutions with our body, which was agreed yesterday. The day was yesterday. We talked to the media and it was just thrown away the same day. And it's need to respect it and abide by it. Not that only. But what had happened actually is that the IO, the leadership of the IO here, had contacted the commander of the SSPDF, who is still in the garrison. They contacted him to surrender to the IO forces. Contacted him, commander of the SSPDF was contacted. For your own safety and life, you surrender yourself to the SPLM-AIO. And as you have known here, the SPLM-AIO is who? Still the White Army. The commander refused and rejected the offer. He is still resisting and still continuing in his place. Efforts are underway to rescue him. Anyway, we are making efforts to address that situation. That is the situation in which we are. So we call upon the IO member, IO, to control it and restrain its forces so that they respect the provisions of the agreement. The Artigono head, which is headed by His Excellency President Salva Kiir, is committed to peace and implementation of the agreement in letter and spirit. Any attempts by any party to derail the implementation of the agreement will not be tolerated. We'll make sure that the agreement is implemented in letter and spirit so that we go for elections. This is what we are saying, and the government is committed to that, and will make sure that the agreement is implemented in letter and spirit. And this despite the hurdles and the obstructions being made. And as such, we follow what the president announced to us earlier. He said, I will never take you back to war. In short, he said, no going back to war. And I'm here to announce it, to repeat it again, that we are not going back to war, but we'll make sure that the agreement is implemented in letter and spirit to the end. Thank you very much. Yes?
Yes, Akila from IAU. Now, since the incident happened one day after the presidency meeting, does that mean parties are not honest with each other in terms of discussion? What does this really mean for the fate of the project in this day? Thank you.
Yes? Why didn't have the news?
Yes, Nicole
Yes.
Mendil, report for BBC World Service.
Hmm?
Nicole Mendil, BBC World Service.
BBC.
Yes.
Mm.
We have just said the two officials who were arrested because they are fallen into conflict with the law. Would you elaborate what kind of conflict with the law? And then we just understand that the house of the resident of the first vice president was surrounded by soldiers. Can you confirm that and why Bashar's house was surrounded? And are these soldiers still there? And what does this mean for you as partners in peace agreement? What does this mean? The first vice president, the second man in command, is all surrounded by soldiers. Are we going back to war? Or you're saying we are not going back to war? And people outside are worried that this is a sign that South Sudan is going back to war. Thank you.
Yes? Yes?
My name is Florence Nieto from Radio France International. Just two questions. One is about the next steps. Maybe you can tell us if there is going to be a meeting of the presidency, or so far you're just calling on the IO to implement what you are asking for.
Come again?
Are you going to organize a meeting of the presidency in the coming days? Is there any dialogue between the first vice president and the president as we speak? My other question was about the deployment in Nasir. People have been wondering why not deploying the unified forces. So if you can explain that, it would be very important. Thank you.
Jan Dejang from AG Media. Some of the questions have been asked, but I just want to know what are the implications of what is happening to the presidency and to the people of South Sudan. Looking at the angle that officials from IO have been arrested, and based on your explanation, it seemed like there is no communication between the vice president or the IO and the partners. So what are the implications here in Juba and back in the villages and the safety of the citizens?
Okay, thank you very much. That is enough. These questions have been asked. All these questions are what is in your mind. You want to ask me in another way, just a question of the wording, but the questions are the same. Okay, in terms of the fear in Juba, the people of Juba are still in video. This is what has been happening here in Juba. Even when you hear Arabia does Crystal, humble two people will start running. This is the nature of the people in Juba. I don't know why are they traumatized. And they all the time tend to believe that whatever happens in Juba will be a problem. This is why we are assuring the people in Juba, in particular, that there is nothing, mafia in Mushkila. Because if we are to talk about the situation in Juba, the situation in Juba is made to be fragile specifically by certain elements so that people all the time live in fear. But after all, why are people fearing? How many times did the people of Juba start running? Just because if I see you today running, for any other reason you are running after something, then people will start to run also because he is running. That is a very serious situation. They are halabata Juba. They are syndrome psychosis, syndrome psychological problem. And they are all the time on the run. So this is why I'm saying, let me assure the people of Juba in particular, and the people of South Sudan in general, that there is no fear. Don't fear. Don't rely on all this nonsense that you read in the social media. Because when you run, at the end of the day, you start running, and when you stop, you find that people are not running. Then you begin to, and you feel shy, because you did not know why did you run. The best thing always is to, before you run, you need to know, why are you running?